It's crazy to think that we're nearing the end of the year, but it's been a wild 12 months in the credit card game and the space is more competitive than ever. So now is a perfect time for us to reanalyze and optimize our strategies for the year ahead. In this video, I'll be breaking down my optimal travel credit card strategy, including how I'm using the travel cards currently in my setup, what cards I'm looking to add to my arsenal in the next year, and how I plan to maximize, in my own terms, each of the 7-point currencies that I'm earning in. Of course, there's no one-size-fits-all way to play the credit card game, but I hope that by sharing my strategies, you'll be able to take away one little thing that may help you optimize your setup for next year. Real quick, I'm super excited to announce a giveaway on our channel for hitting 25,000 subscribers soon. And thanks to the generosity of a couple of our channel partners, I'll be giving away a combination of 10 12-month-long Max Rewards Gold subscriptions so you can test out all of their pro features without any monetary investment, 6 6-month Max Rewards Gold subscriptions as a second tier winning from them, 5 1-hour-long calls with me where we can build out a roadmap like I do on my paid calls or just talk about whatever you want, and 4 extra wallets of your choosing. And speaking of extra, they do have their biggest sales of the year coming up, Black Friday and Christmas. So if you end up liking the wallets that you win and want to buy some for your friends and family, the timing of this giveaway is pretty perfect. But with all of that, we have 25 total winners for the 25,000 subscriber giveaway, which I think is pretty awesome. And all you have to do to opt in is fill out the Google form below. This isn't a survey like the last one. I just need to collect some information so I can reach out to you if you do win. And the giveaway will end when the clock strikes midnight, the night of November 30th. And I'll be announcing our winners in our 25,000 subscriber live stream on December 11th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I hope you can join us. Be sure to submit the entries below and see all of the rules for the giveaway, and thank you all so much for making this community so amazing. So to start, let's talk about the travel cards I currently have in my setup and how I maximize the value from them. Up first is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. As for its earning categories, I just use it for 3x back on travel and dining, and while I could do a little bit better elsewhere, I value Chase Ultimate Rewards points the highest out of any points currency, as we'll discuss more later. So I'm fine with taking a slight little hit on my points per dollar earned to earn in a currency that I utilize the most. But getting into its benefits, for one, it gives me a 50% boost on my points whenever I use them in the Chase travel portal, which is actually something I use a lot more now than I initially thought I would. Having a guaranteed redemption rate while still earning miles with the airlines I fly with and points with the hotels that I stay at is something that I really enjoy. Of course, it is always really important to analyze all of your options before using a travel portal because you need to make sure you're getting the best deal, and that's exactly what I do. But further than that, this card also does give me access to Chase's transfer partners, and we'll talk more about the transfer partners that I use the most later. But just know for now that I utilize my UR points if there is a really good transfer bonus going on, or if it's with one of their exclusive partners. Outside of those reasons, I like to use other point currencies first because I always am in need of more Chase points considering how much I do use the 50% boost through the travel portal. But that doesn't mean I don't use my Chase points for anything else. And of course, we can't forget that the Chase Sapphire Reserve also gives me access to the Chase Sapphire lounges as well as a Priority Pass Select membership. And this is a big value add to me personally because I have the Chase Sapphire Terrace Lounge in my home airport in Austin, Texas. And it's also just really nice to have that broad lounge access, especially on those longer travel days. By the way, if you ever do see me in the Sapphire Terrace Lounge in Austin, please come say hi to me. I really do love getting to talk to y'all in person, so don't forget that. Next on the list is the Capital One Venture X. And this card is kind of a standalone card considering it's my only Capital One card in my setup, but it still gets a lot of use thanks to its 2x earning category on just miscellaneous purchases. It also serves as my catch-all credit card whenever I'm traveling overseas because it's a Visa Infinite and has great travel and retail protections. And yes, I could use my Chase Sapphire Reserve for this purpose as well, but I always keep both cards in my wallet, so why not get 2x instead of 1x that I would with the Chase Sapphire Reserve on those miscellaneous purchases. Just like basically all travel credit cards, more important than the earning categories are of course its benefits. Specific to the Venture X, the one that I value the most is going to be the Capital One lounge access that it provides because no other credit card that I have can do that for me. Although there aren't a ton of Capital One lounges out there, I do connect a lot through DFW or the Dallas Fort Worth airport, which has a Capital One lounge in it. And also Denver is one of the airports that I stop in somewhat frequently. And since they have a Capital One lounge there, it's nice to have access to it. But the other benefit on the card that's specific to my use case is going to be the Hertz President Circle status. This is something that I've utilized multiple times in the past, and on top of getting upgraded cards every time I've used it, I also pay the cheapest rates, and it's just been really nice. I recently learned too that Capital One actually removed the language saying that they were going to get rid of Hertz President Circle status on this card in 2025. So with that being an ongoing benefit, seemingly, I think that's a great move by Capital One and would cause me to maybe keep this card open for longer than initially expected. Moving to another card that only serves one very specific purpose. We have the Citi Strata Premier. This is my dedicated grocery card, and I get 3x back on all of those purchases. Yes, this card does give you more than just 3x back on groceries, like 3x back on dining and travel as well. But I only use it for groceries since I do have other cards that cover the other categories for me in a points currency that I value higher than Citi's thank you points. The main reason I have this card though is because it gives me access to Citi's transfer partners. Obviously, the name of the game when it comes to travel credit cards is one, with a transferable currency card, you want access to their partners. So if you have a card that does that for you, that's great. And two, if it's a hotel or airline card, you just want those really nice benefits like free night certificates or free check bags or stuff like that. But going back to this card in particular, Citi's transfer partners are not exactly ones that people talk about very frequently. And I honestly think that's just because they overlook them considering they're very competitive with all of the big lenders. And while I say that, I haven't actually utilized any of them myself, but that's because all of the trips that I booked for this year were booked before I had the Citi Strata Premier. So I didn't have the ability to transfer my points out back then if I wanted to. I'm assuming if you like any credit cards, not just the travel cards we're talking about here today, you like to put your money to work for you and earn easy rewards without a lot of hassle. If that's the case, I want to introduce you to a tool that'll help you do more of just that. Moomoo. Moomoo is an investment and trading platform that enables global investors with pro-grade, easy-to-use tools, data, and insights. Whether you're interested in staying high level and exploring global market trends, or understanding the nuances of the United States market, like the recent interest rate cuts by the Fed that obviously heavily impact our economy, Moomoo has you covered. One feature that helps them stand out from the crowd is that they have a community of 23 million users that you're able to communicate with inside the app. This enables the barrier-free exchange of investment ideas and real-time sharing of investment experiences. So it helps you gauge market sentiment and investor opinions through community discussions, providing insights that may be more aligned with market reality than other news sources out there. Pair that with the fact that you get cost-effective trading of US stocks, ETFs, and options with zero commission, no minimum deposit required, and no account maintenance fees, and you can see why so many of their users love them. As a special promotion for my US audience, if you sign up today, you can earn up to 15 free stocks and 8.1% APY on your uninvested cash through their cash sweep. For those wondering, swept cash is available for trading or withdrawal at any time. No manual redemption is required. Simply deposit $1,000 and maintain an average asset balance for 60 days to unlock these benefits. Plus, if you transfer funds to the app, you'll get a 1.5% cash reward on your initial transfer up to $300. Don't forget to click my link below for more details on the terms and conditions and to claim your free stocks. Thank you to Moomoo for sponsoring this video, but let's get back to the content. For one of my cards that is used much less than anticipated, we have the Bilt MasterCard. The biggest reason I don't use this card too much is because I do like to utilize my rent payments towards minimum spending requirements on certain welcome offers. And with rent being its main competitive advantage outside of course, all of your purchases on rent day, not using it for rent means that I don't really use it at all. To make sure it's always active though, and that I hit the 5 minimum transactions every month to get my points, I do use it as my coffee card, my rent day card, and sometimes I do use it for rent, depending on what minimum spending requirements I'm spending towards. Don't get me wrong, I really do love this credit card and its list of transfer partners that, by the way, you have access to at no annual fee. But of course, more on how I'm going to use all these point currencies here in a bit. As for my active Amex cards right now, I have the Amex Blue Business Plus and Amex Business Gold card. And honestly, neither of them get a ton of use, but they do keep my Amex membership reward point balance alive and growing over time. I use the Blue Business Plus for certain business subscriptions, and then I use the Amex Business Gold for my editing services. The Business Gold is one that I plan on canceling in year 2, but the Blue Business Plus is one that I really don't foresee myself ever canceling because for one, it is my first business credit card ever, but also because it's one of the only no annual fee cards that can keep your membership reward point balance alive if you were to cancel all of your other Amex cards over time. I've accumulated hundreds of thousands of Amex membership rewards points over the last couple of years thanks to welcome offers, referral bonuses, and stuff like that. So these cards are really just important to my strategy for redemption's sake. And then we come to a card that I really only use for the benefits and nothing else, that being the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card. Initially, I got this card for its 5 free night certificate welcome offer, and don't come after me here, but I only ended up using 4 of those free night certificates, but I still did get some really solid value from those 4 nights. My girlfriend and I had a 2-night staycation in Austin at the Austin Proper Hotel, which had a cash rate of about $800 per night, and I also let my girlfriend and one of her friends who was coming into town use it for a staycation at the JW Marriott, which also had a pretty good redemption rate. I still have over 350,000 Marriott Bonvoy points to put into use in the future, and this card card easily pays for itself every year with the 35,000 point free night certificate, Marriott Silver Elite status, etc. So it's a keeper for me, even though the only spend I put on it is my Spotify subscription if I'm not staying at Marriott properties. Now that we know how I use my current credit cards, let's talk about the cards I plan on adding in the next year or so before discussing how I'll utilize all of these point currencies. On my list to apply for by the end of this year are the Southwest Priority and Southwest Performance Business cards. My current roadmap shows that I'll be applying for the Southwest Performance Business on November 1st and the Southwest Priority card on December 15th, and I'm doing that solely for the purpose of earning the Southwest Companion Pass for 2025 and 2026. I recently made a video breaking down my strategy and how you can do the exact same thing to unlock basically unlimited free Southwest flights, so check that one out after this if you're interested in learning more about it. Outside of the Companion Pass, it will be nice to earn an additional 130,000 points or so from the welcome offers on these two cards, and since theoretically all of these points will be used for Companion Pass flights, if I pay an average of say 25,000 points for a round trip flight with Southwest, I can get about 10 total round trip tickets with those welcome offer points because of course the Companion Pass gives me an extra ticket for free with each of those flights. Up next is a card that I'm getting more and more excited for by the day, the Amex Business Platinum. Speaking strictly from the travel perspective, this card will serve two main purposes. First, of course, its welcome offer is going to be big. If I can lock in an offer like 250,000 points for spending $15,000 on the card in the first 3 months, that would be amazing. And by the way, the only way I'm ever hitting that kind of minimum spending requirement is with my tax payments. And for those wondering, all of the data points from last year suggesting that tax payments on Amex cards actually don't help you earn the welcome offer, that was seemingly only applicable to no lifetime language offers, which I will not be going for. Plus, I did go for the Amex Business Gold using one of my tax payments last year, and I had no issues with that, so I'm really not too worried. The only thing I'm really worried about with this card is getting approved for it because I did cancel my personal Amex Gold this year and I don't want to be caught in Amex pop-up jail, but they have been sending me a lot of mail-in offers for this card, so I'm hoping I'll be in the clear. Then we come to the Ritz-Carlton credit card. I know a lot of y'all have been asking about this, and since I talked about the Boundless earlier, I'm sure some of y'all might have even started typing up a comment about the Ritz-Carlton card, but I did decide to hold off on product changing to the Ritz card for a couple of main reasons. One is to keep my total annual fees manageable with all of these other travel credit cards I plan on adding in the next year. Two, I want to avoid forcing myself to use the free night certificate on it to help make up the annual fee if I don't have a trip already planned for it. And three, this card will not get me into the one airport lounge that I care about, the Chase Sapphire Terrace Lounge, even though it does get you into all of the other Chase lounges. Since it doesn't get me into the one that I need access to, the lounge access that the Ritz card provide really isn't that big of a value add to me. It's just an overlapping benefit with my Chase Sapphire Reserve. So again, it doesn't really make sense for me to product change up to a $450 card if the only main benefit that I'm be getting from it is Marriott Gold Elite status and that free night certificate every year. And speaking of that Marriott Gold Elite status, that is something that I will get on the Amex Business Platinum if I get that card. So the only reason for me to ever get the Ritz card is for the free night certificate on it. But without plans to use that, again, that's kind of just a waste of $450 in my opinion. There are a couple more cards I thought about mentioning in this video, but I'm actually going to cut that out because this video is going to be way too long if not. I did talk about them in my video about the 5 underrated credit cards I can't wait to apply for. So definitely check out that video after this one if you haven't. But now that we covered all the cards that I currently have, as well as the ones that I plan on adding, let's talk about each of the points currencies I earn in and how I maximize value from them. Starting with my favorite, Chase Ultimate Rewards points. Like I mentioned previously, the main way that I do utilize my Chase Ultimate Rewards points is through the 50% boost that my Chase Sapphire Reserve gives me through the Chase Travel Portal. I know a lot of folks are not fans of using a travel portal necessarily, but after using the Chase portal for about a year now, I really don't have many complaints. Yes, there are some annoyances with them for sure, just like every travel portal, particularly as it comes to canceled flights or delayed flights, but overall, I've had many more good experiences than bad. And considering the value that I get through the portal is higher than all of the alternative options, I'll take some of that bad with the good. Outside of the portal, Hyatt is my main use case with their transfer partners because that is an exclusive relationship that Chase has with Hyatt. Well, besides Bilt, but we'll talk more about that later. And I did used to use a lot of my Chase points with Southwest when I only had the Chase Sapphire Preferred because the 25% boost that the Preferred gave you was a lower point valuation than the average 1.4 cent per point valuation whenever transferred directly to Hyatt. But now that I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which gives me a 1.5 cent per point guaranteed valuation through their portal, plus I get Southwest points in qualifying flights whenever I book through the Chase travel portal because Southwest sees those bookings as paid bookings. So I usually default to the Chase Sapphire Reserve for all Southwest bookings, again, as long as the pricing is competitive. That being said though, once I do have the Southwest Companion Pass, I will switch back to my strategy of transferring points over directly to them. That way I can utilize the Southwest Companion Pass. And even though I'm technically getting a lower cent per point value for redeeming in that fashion, since I have the Companion Pass, you have to basically double all of my valuations, which means that there is no better way to book a Southwest flight than transferring directly from Chase. That is for any flights that I do with my girlfriend though. If I'm flying solo, I'll still use the Chase portal most likely. Amex membership rewards points are up next, and I actually have the most points with them out of any lender. For now, I only use my Amex membership rewards points for big redemptions like business or first class flights. So that's the main reason I have so many of them stashed away. Every once in a while, I will use my points with Hilton if they have a really good transfer bonus, or I just find a really great redemption, similar to what I found with the Las Vegas creator meetup last year, but that is pretty rare. The more exciting way that I plan on using my Amex membership rewards points once I add the Amex Business Platinum card is for domestic flights through their portal. For those that don't know, if you purchase any first or business class flights, as well as any fare class with your selected qualifying airline booked through Amex Travel, you'll get a 35% points rebate with this card. A 35% points rebate basically just means that you have a guaranteed 1.53 cent per point valuation for any of those eligible flight bookings that I just mentioned. And to give you a quick example of how I got there, we'll do a cent per point calculation. Say it was a $1,000 trip, you can subtract out the $5.60 for just a domestic one-way flight and divide by 65,000 points, since that's the net that you would need to book that flight. Yes, of course, you will have to pay 100,000 points up front, but you get the 35,000 points back for that rebate. So that's how I got there. Multiply by 100 and you come out to 1.53 cents per point. Obviously, that example doesn't apply to every single booking, but you're going to get roughly 1.5 cents per point, which means that with this card, you kind of have a Chase Sapphire Reserve with Amex in a sense. And with this benefit, I hope that that will really lighten up my need for Chase Ultimate Rewards points, since I'm always low with that currency. But considering it is only with one airline of your choice, domestically at least, if you're not booking first or business class flights, my Chase points will still need to be utilized through their portal for certain domestic flights. And of course, I'll still use my Chase points through the Edit collection and for certain boutique hotels and stuff like that as well through Chase's travel portal. Moving to some lesser used currencies now, we have Capital One miles. At the moment, I really don't touch my Capital One miles, but they still serve their purpose. To me, my Capital One miles are only to ever be used to transfer out to their international airline partners. However, considering I don't really travel super frequently internationally, that's why these points haven't been used. Then again though, there is another use case as to why you would want to transfer your points to an international airline partner, even if you're not traveling internationally, and that's to utilize airline alliances to book domestic flights. One example that I've discussed on this channel before is using Avios through, British Airways or Qatar to book American Airlines flights. That is just one example of many, and there are so many different sweet spot redemptions that you can find by implementing the strategy, and that's through all three of the airline alliances, of course, that being oneworld, Star Alliance, and SkyTeam. So if you have some miles sitting around that you don't really know what to do with, I would really look into the strategy more. Note too that I do use my Capital One Venture X for a lot of my purchases, considering it's my in-person catch-all credit card. So I accumulate a good amount of points with Capital One every year because of that. So I expect my Capital One miles usage to increase in the future. Now, as for Citi thank you points, there's really not much more for me to say that I didn't say with Capital One, because I consider the points currencies basically the same. But one thing that I did not mention with Capital One that is true for both of these points currencies is using them during transfer bonus periods. Some people are really against spreading their points too thin, and I completely get that. I wouldn't recommend you do this if you only have a couple of credit cards. But if you're anything like me and you go for a ton of different welcome offers every year and you're okay with balancing different point systems, then having access to multiple can help you get access to transfer bonuses no matter when you need them. For example, at the time of me filming this video, Citi has a 40% transfer bonus with Etihad, Chase has a 40% bonus to Virgin Atlantic, and Amex has a 20% bonus to Flying Blue. And these change so frequently that by having access to basically all lenders, I know that no matter what flight I'm wanting to book, at least with one of those international airlines, I should have some access to a transfer bonus through one of my lenders. Now, one new kid on the block that can provide some really serious value are Bilt points. As of right now, my Bilt points are only used for one thing, and that is to book my Hyatt hotel stays. I honestly like to think of my Bilt points as just more Chase Ultimate Rewards points in a lot of ways, particularly because they're the only lender other than Chase that has access to Hyatt as a transfer partner. So as we talked about earlier, with me using a lot of my Chase points for portal redemptions with them, I tend to default to Bilt to book my Hyatt stays to just lighten the load on my UR points. Outside of that, in the past, I would have utilized my Bilt points with American Airlines if there were some good redemption rates for that. But now that their relationship has dissolved, I really only use my Bilt points with Hyatt. As for more specific point currencies, we have Southwest miles and Marriott Bonvoy points. And I combine both of them into one section here because they're a lot more straightforward forward than the others. With Marriott, I use my points for Marriott stays and Marriott stays alone. And up until now, I've really only used them to top off some of my free night certificates. But with the large stash that I have, I could see me using those for just normal stays in the future. And with Southwest, of course, I want to start utilizing those points once I have the companion pass. But outside of that, if I'm traveling solo and I'm not using the companion pass, I'll probably just use my Chase points through their portal for those bookings. So overall, I use my Southwest miles and my Marriott Bonvoy points with each company respectively, and that's that. If you want to see how I've utilized all of these strategies throughout the last year to get over $10,000 worth of free travel, click into this video next. And as always, Odin and I both want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.